Arsene Wenger predicts major Premier League U-turn in huge Man City 115 charges verdict. Arsene Wenger has predicted another victory for Manchester City against the Premier League in their hearing against 115 alleged breaches of financial fair play rules. Legendary Arsenal manager Arsene Wenger believes the Premier League will be forced into a U-turn over financial fair play rules amid their ongoing hearing against Manchester City. The Premier League charged City with 115 alleged breaches of FFP rules, which could result in serious consequences for the Blues if the most serious charges are proven. City have always maintained their innocence and welcomed the opportunity to present their defense in front of an independent panel. That hearing is currently taking place, with a verdict expected in the new year. In a separate legal case, City secured a major win over the Premier League last month by proving their associated party transaction rules were unlawful and against UK competition law. Now, Wenger has offered his verdict on the 115 charges, suggesting that he expects City to be successful. Wenger is currently the chief of global football development at FIFA and has visited City as part of his role to hand out awards in recent years. Speaking on Being Sports this week, he said that regardless of City's case, the Premier League will have to change their FFP rules and says he doesn't believe in City's charges. "I feel the rules of financial fair play today have to be changed in the Premier League," he said. Because they now face competition from other leagues, who have changed their financial fair play rules. At the moment you cannot hear a club like Man City being charged by 115 different charges in a football season. I don't believe in that. The Premier League already lost a case, the first case against them. I don't know them, City, I can't judge them. I just think 115 different charges against a football club today looks like we are in an international administration. Financial fair play rules have to be changed and made more simple. They, the City owners, came in and they had not faced any financial fair play, nor have Chelsea. Chelsea, they bought my players from Arsenal, and Chelsea also bought what they wanted because there was no financial fair play rules. Ksiki Begiristain transfer gamble to be tested one final time after fresh Man City injury bombshell. Ksiki Begiristain has proven himself to be a master of the transfer market at Manchester City. The Blues will need to trust his judgment over the summer as they enter a busy period with several key players out. Pep Guardiola, supported by Ksiki Begiristain, prefers to operate with a small, manageable squad at Manchester City. It's a policy that has delivered plenty of success but is not without risk. However much certain critics and pundits try to insist that the Blues have endless resources, anyone who has paid any shred of attention to the Etihad in the last few years will know that City's success lies on fewer versatile players rather than a host of specialists in each position. Suddenly, City have emerged from the international break with 6 key players injured for the foreseeable future, leaving them with just 15 fit outfield options. The transfer strategy would always be stretched if certain players got injured, but the current situation is surely among the extremes of any worst-case scenarios mitigated for. But City have been here before. They decided against signing a new centre-back in 2019 when Vincent Kompany left and soon after lost Aymeric Laporte to injury. With John Stones drastically out of form, it meant a main central defensive partnership of Nicolas Otamendi and an out-of-position Fernandinho. The results went about as well as could be expected. During that season, City also lost Leroy Sane for the full campaign plus Ederson, Oleksandr Zinchenko, Benjamin Mendy, David Silva, Rodri, Gabriel Jesus and Sergio Aguero for various spells. It was the only season they haven't won the Premier League in the last 7 years. Even the very best have a ceiling when half the team isn't available. This year, after opting against securing a replacement for Rodri in the summer, City have lost the Spaniard for the season, while their best player from pre-season is out until the new year. Talisman Kevin De Bruyne is struggling with a pelvic injury, while captain Kyle Walker has a knee injury. Jack Grealish and Jeremy Doku joined the injury list this week, and all of a sudden the options are thin on the ground. They are 2 games into a run of 7 games in 21 days between international breaks, of which 5 are away from home. Each of their 15 fit options will be needed to play their part. So it helps that some describe themselves as not having any position at all, like Rico Lewis and Manu Akanji, and that Phil Foden and Matheus Nunes look like hitting form at a convenient time. Both Foden and Núñez are capable of playing across midfield and both wings, as is Bernardo Silva. Most players will be needed to rotate positions within games, too. Guardiola has talked up the ability of most of his players to play multiple positions, aside from perhaps Erling Haaland, Ruben Dias and Rodri. That versatility will be tested to the fullest in the next 15 days as Guardiola tries to keep his squad as fit and fresh as possible. Begiristain will leave City at the end of the season and will hope to do so with the club celebrating another Premier League title. If they get through this period and go on to challenge, it could be the biggest vindication of his transfer policy yet. And if they do enjoy another successful season, expect the usual suspects to dismiss it because of City's bottomless pit of world-class options. The current injury crisis, and how City deal with it, will be an instant rebuttal of that lazy stereotype. For players are doing what they shouldn't in Man City injury crisis solution. Manchester City will be without Kevin De Bruyne, Jeremy Doku and Jack Grealish for the next week or so, to go with Kyle Walker, Rodri and Oscar Bob injuries. When your most creative players are out, you need others to step up. Luckily for Manchester City, their most dangerous attacking force continues to set unbelievable standards. Erling Haaland has 13 goals in 12 appearances this season and is averaging a goal every 80 minutes. It's a figure even more remarkable when you consider he hasn't scored in 5 of those matches. But after Haaland, the next nearest goalscorer is Mateo Kovacic on 3. And without Kevin De Bruyne playing regularly and Phil Foden taking time to get back to fitness, there is also a vacuum of assisters. If you suggested that Rico Lewis would be leading the assist charts at this stage of the season, few would have believed you. But Lewis has 4 assists to his name, level with a quietly productive start from Savinho. Lewis got 4 across the whole of last season and is covering the absences of both Kyle Walker at right back and De Bruyne at number 10. Not an easy feat. He is not a creative player, but has stepped into that role as he glides forward into midfield. A useful partnership with Haaland is developing and he has emerged as an unlikely creative force in the early stages of the campaign. So, too, has Matheus Núñez, who boosted his statistics with a goal and 2 assists against Sparta Prague this week. The latter, a pinpoint cross to John Stones and an unselfish pass to Haaland, were exactly the kind City have been waiting for, and his through ball for the Norwegian at West Ham killed the game. Assists are to be more expected from a player like Núñez, yet history suggests he has rarely been a creative player, particularly in front of goal. With key men in midfield and out wide injured, Núñez could have an important role to play in the coming games. He certainly needs to take such a chance. Bernardo Silva has 3 assists and 1 goal as he balances a deeper brief with his attacking instincts, while Kovacic has already equaled his goal tally from last season, which was his best since 2015. Not only is he the man to replace Rodri, but he has also offered the attacking returns that the Spaniard did. And finally there is fan favourite John Stones. Late goals against Arsenal and Wolves have saved City 3 points in the Premier League, and he was on target again vs Sparta. Pep Guardiola joked he would use Stones up front if Haaland was missing, and he is another to improve on recent seasons in an attacking sense. Stones got 1 goal last season, 3 the season before, and 2 the year before that. 6 goals in 89 appearances between 2021-22 and 2023-24, and 3 in 8 this term. Even Josko Gvardiol has popped up with 2 more important goals, contributing to 4 points at Newcastle and Wolves. As Guardiola works out how to play without some of his more senior creative options, and others take time to get up to speed this season, City have been boosted by some unlikely new attackers. The gap between Haaland's goals and the chasing pack needs closing, but until that happens these surprise creative sparks will be needed in the next fortnight as Guardiola has just 15 outfield options to select from.